Hey, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about 3 common pitfalls that we fall into when we reinvent ourselves at 50. And I'm going to give you 3 really useful questions that are going to change everything for you so you don't fall into those pitfalls. Because the deeper you go, the harder it is to come out of. Okay, if we haven't met before, my name's Lindsay. I help midlife women to reinvent themselves, and it's delightful to have you here. So thanks for watching along. And as I say, stick with me for those 3 questions because I think they'll be really helpful. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe, like, all that good stuff, and drop in a comment as well, because if you've got questions, I'd love to be able to help. Okay, so let's dive in. So the first one is the common pitfall is it's the urge to do something different. Now, while this is great, okay, it's motivating, it's powerful, it's full of energy, it's kind of the energy you need to propel you into your next chapter. But it does come with a slightly insecure foundation, shall we just say? And so that unsecure foundation can make you make very rash decisions and can leave you a bit backpedaling because you're coming from the wrong intention. So the question that you can ask yourself is, am I making decisions from fear and urgency, or am I making decisions from clarity and trust? And as you can imagine, even if you just kind of feel into the energy of fear and urgency, that's going to put almost a time limit. Come on, you got to get this done. Whereas if you come from clarity and trust, you actually trust yourself to make a good decision. And when you can put that trust in yourself, you're going to be a lot more confident in your decision and a lot more balanced. Although it's not really a great time of balance, the best thing you can do is give yourself every opportunity to start tapping into your feelings and your heart rather than this feeling of necessity and you have to, and that's what we've been told to do. This time of midlife is an unraveling. It's like a grown-up version of puberty. You don't know what's going to happen at the other side. You don't know if you're going to grow into, just like when you see teenagers go through it. And they go in one shape and they come out a completely different shape, or they go in a bit of an ugly duckling sometimes and they come out and they're like, whoa, stunning beauty. The same can happen to us too, We're allowed to do that too. And where we find those real sort of gems that absolutely just bring us out for this glow up, as people love to call it, that's because you tap into this absolute self-trust and clarity, and that's where you build your new foundation from. And if you go with that route, it's going to be, I'm not going to say it's going to be easier, because it's not easy, depending on what you want to do. And I don't think at this stage, if you're listening to me, actually, you're probably not necessarily choosing the easy route, but you are choosing a route of self-discovery. So one of the things that I saw in 2023 moving into 2024 is a lot of women, especially, I know there are men doing it too as well, dived into this whole online marketing space and learning MRR, which is Master Resale Rights. And if you haven't heard of it, it doesn't matter. Basically, it's people buying a training course in order to then sell the training course. And it was hugely successful for many, many women, and still is. Women and men, obviously I was following the women. But the biggest thing that I saw trip people up, and which is why I'm making this video today, was the fact that they said, right, I'm learning all of these skills, but what do I talk about? And they would waste so much time copying other people because they didn't know what to talk about. And until they'd had the success, they couldn't talk about the success they'd had and sound genuine. So all of a sudden, all of these incredibly brilliant women were copying other people and losing their authenticity, losing their personality within their posts, and just sounding like vanilla and generic. That's not who you are now. The most valuable quality that we can step into in midlife is not wanting to fit in anymore, not having to fit into the railroad that society may have set up for us before, that we've done all the goalposts, we've done all those milestones, and now we don't have to. So to then jump into a business model where you're not playing to your strengths and you're not playing to your authenticity, I teetered around on this for months and months and months. And even though I went through a whole bunch of the courses, and I still sell the courses now because they are brilliant, but they are brilliant for helping you gain the skills that you need. They are not brilliant for reinventing yourself, I don't believe. Some people will fight me on that and, whatever, really. Okay, so that's the first one. Right, number 2, I don't want this video to go on too long. Number 2 is that you're doing what you think you should instead of what you actually really want to do. from your heart and from your soul. Now, there is an exercise that I work with people on, and it's getting your head and your heart and your soul in alignment when you're looking at decisions. And you can go through a whole bunch of exercises, which I have an ebook that can help you with those, which I learned to make because of the courses that I took and because I used the skills to do what I do and what makes me me, and not because I jumped onto the the vanilla bandwagon of doing what everybody else seemed to be doing. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. When you tap into what makes you unique and what you have natural skills at, what you enjoy, what you love, what you can offer back to society, all of those things, that's what helps build more purpose, more meaning, and gives you a completely different path in life. And so a really useful question for that is, am I choosing this because it feels right for me or because I think I should? Because if you're doing something because you think you should, that's, again, it comes with a very different energy. If you think about, you've got a to-do list. Actually, where's my book? Oh, it's this book. I don't know. Have you seen this book? I don't know if I talked about this book. 90 Days to Thrive. So this has been my organisation system for absolutely years. And the reason I'm showing it to you is because you've got a page on there. Well, each page, it's 90 days of these pages. But you've got the because I must and because I can. And those two will give you very different tasks in the day. And that's how I divide up my to-do list every day. It's get it done, get to do, and makes the world go round, rocks my world. The two come with a very different energy. And by the way, that book's available on Amazon. I think it's also a link in my page. Anyway, also, guess what? Learned to do that because I did all the online skills. So this is what I mean. But you use those online skills to heighten and to help you to benefit from everything that you are and your interests and your passions and your skills. And then from there, you can create your whole new, career, your new chapter. Because you don't need to use all your passions and skills in order to make a business. Of course you don't. But in the Japanese theory of Ikigai, you do what you are skilled at, what you find easy, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And those four things, at the cross-section in the middle where they all meet, that's kind of your Ikigai, and that's also kind of where you find your purpose. So if you've got questions about that, just text me. Although if you look up Ikigai, and that's no, it's not A at all. Ikaigi, I think. That's not one of my skills, clearly. So yeah, it's definitely doing what fits you. So yeah, the question is, am I choosing it because it feels right or because I think I should? Okay, and point number 3. This one really allows you to open up your creativity. Now, I could make a whole nother video on this. So that whole idea of the starving artist. I believe that the age that we've now come into, tapping into my love of everything spiritual and astrological and soul's guidance and soul's purpose, if there were no rules, what life would you create for yourself? So if there was no guidance, no expectation, and you could do anything in the world, what would you do? Now, a friend of mine commented on one of my videos and he went, well, actually, if I didn't have to work at all, then I wouldn't work. And if you're in that position, then that's cool and kind of a little bit why we're having this conversation. But if you do have to work, as most of us in our 50s, and especially if we're recreating ourselves, we do need to make an income. And so it's my belief is that you're tapping into something that is so a whole part of you that it pours out of you with so much energy and flow and ease. And because you're offering that back to the world, it's an exchange of energy. And so therefore you get paid for it, if that makes sense. But because I've been working with people for the last 20 years about tapping into who they really are, and that's what sets them apart in life, and that's what brings them so much joy and satisfaction in the smallest things in life that they are missing because they're so busy doing what they think they should be doing. So for example, when I work with clients, one of the first things that we do is to do like a major decluttering project. And that's also partly because of the experience that I had going through, and other women have going through recreating yourself or reinventing yourself in midlife, is you've just got to let a lot of the noise and the clutter fall away. Because so much of that stuff it's not driven by you. It doesn't do anything for your soul and for your heart. And it's actually an energy drain. But if you're depleted, and you've known this, because if you raised your kids, if you're depleted of energy, what have you got left to give? Then you tap into your passion and you learn to share that. That becomes your purpose. And so, some of those courses I mentioned earlier, they fill in that middle gap. But what I can help you do is to really find that passion again, really tap back into those passions. And that's where Ikigai comes in. But also I've put together a series of questions. And when you go through those exercises and you unearth your passions and your qualities that you've taken for granted for years and have probably been taken for granted for years, and now they might actually be the thing that serves you more than anything. So the question is, if there are no rules, what kind of life would I create for myself now? If you are going through this recreation, midlife awakening, then the chances are you probably want to do a bit of soul searching. And if you do, I've got a free guide, or I've got a book of 5 exercises and a bonus one. And the bonus one actually will just confirm everything that you have found out. And it also will then give you some steps of guidance in a career. And that one's called the Escape Plan. And there are links to it in here. But if not, if you just comment escape, and I'll send you over. Yeah, so if that sounds like something that will help you, it's easy to go through. It'll probably take you, I mean, you could do it in an hour, but it might take you more if you give yourself the time to go through it all. Anyway, so if you're still here with me, thank you so much. So grateful that you're here. And I really hope that you can dig in a little bit further, because it's time for you to share your gifts and to offer your enthusiasm of everything that you love to the world. We need you. Cool. Okay. Was that a bit much? All right. I'll speak to you soon. Thanks. Bye.